Доброе рано всем. Рад вас всех не видим. Іменуюся Дмитро. В Празі всім попривет. Сем з України, а чешкина є трохи подобна українськина. That is all. That is all that I know in Czech, but actually a lot of words are very similar to Ukrainian language. Sorry to the ones who don't speak bad Czech. So, thank you for coming, and today I will share my story of applying agile and leadership skills in a bit different environment than where we applied. And I would like to start with this map. Anyone knows what this map shows? Raise your hand if you know. Okay, yeah, around half of the audience knows. It's actually quite a big portion compared to other conferences. So this is an air raid siren map over Ukraine. Ukraine is divided in 26 regions, and if there is a risk of being attacked by rockets or drones, then it will be red and you will get notification. So all Ukrainians know about it. Kids are following it because this can save your life. And what is interesting about this presentation is that actually the majority of this presentation has been made during air raid sirens, because when I was in the army back in time, it was the most peaceful time for me. I just had to sit in the bomb shelter, and then I was accidentally accepted for the conference talk that I have applied before the full-scale invasion started. So they contacted me and they said, oh, we accepted your talk, would you like to talk? And I said, okay. First I will do it online, second, can I change the topic? Yeah. So this is how I started to create the presentation that you will see today. A little bit about me. My name is Dmytro. I'm from Ukraine. I am a founder of a very small consulting company, Execute On. Worked with several companies across Europe and in Ukraine. And this is what I did back on February 23rd in 2022. So this is a picture I took at 4 p.m. This is one of the biggest Ukrainian banks, OTP Bank, and we help them to transform their teams from functional silos to cross-functional. We have CEO of the bank on the sprint review. We have the main stakeholder in agriculture sector, and team showing the progress. Everybody is happy. CEO says, guys, what you have delivered in a sprint in 2 weeks, more than you could deliver in half a year when you were in different departments. I'm super happy. I'm coming home. I have a dinner with my wife, with kids, with dog, with cat. Everything looks nice, and this is a picture just in one day. So we are sitting in a self-made bomb shelter. So me and my son created from the cellar a bomb shelter, and on the picture you can see my daughter and a beautiful leg of my wife. So the life has changed a lot. It's not only for me, for all Ukrainians, and I think for a lot of people outside of Ukraine as well. And we spent 10 days in our house near the Kiev, and it was not very safe. This is what I could see from the window, the fight between two jets. I hope Ukrainian won at this battle. Yeah, and this is what we could see during the night. Yeah, we heard a lot of explosions in Kiev, etc. So it was not safe, and at that time we started to get news from Bucha, and Russians were very close to my house, so I decided to evacuate my family. So I called my friend in Denmark, and I said, Michael, can you be on the Ukrainian border in 44 hours? And he said yes. So yeah, I evacuated my family to Ukraine-Poland border. My daughter said that I will not go anywhere without dog. Yeah, and it was a puppy, so we had to take dog as well. They had only 2 backpacks, yeah, and then they went to Denmark. And then my daughter gave me this letter on the border. She said, I wish you to be wise, happy, and find new friends. And I did find a lot of friends afterwards. And I hope everything will be fine. And then she said that I hope we will see each other. So at that time, 10-year-old kid understood that it's quite risky. And at that time, I decided that I will do utmost to see her. So, yeah, so they moved to out of Ukraine in a safe place, and then I thought, okay, so what is now, party time or what? So yeah, no family at home. So I decided that okay, I will go to the army. So I will just do my small transformation. Bear with me. Usually I do it faster, sorry. I need to practice. Okay, yes, so I became an officer in Ukrainian army. And this is a story that I will share to you today. So, just to understand the context where I operated, this is a list of ranks and units in NATO armies, but it's quite similar to Ukrainian army. So on the lowest level you have squad, then platoon, company, battalion, and so on. And whenever you put yourself or someone put you in a completely new environment, you are trying to find something that you know, or you try to make association, so to have some foundation, yes? And I started to think, oh, okay, squad, around 6-10 soldiers. Okay, it looks like a scrum team, yeah? Commanded by sergeant, okay, it looks like it's a scrum master, maybe product owner, I will figure out. Then platoon, 3-4 squads, okay, it looks like a product area in less, yeah, having a common mission, okay. And then company, yes, with 3-4 platoons, in my company it was 5 platoons, and it's like, I was a release train engineer before, and I said, oh, it's like Agile release train with 15 teams. I had 14 teams before in 4 countries. Yeah. So I started to build some association, and I had the lowest rank, second lieutenant, because in Ukraine back in time, when you are in university, a student, you should choose whether you go to military education. For 2 years, every Friday you go to military education and get some military specialization, or you go to the army after university. Yes, of course, a lot of students go to the education, so they don't want to waste 1 year in the army. And I was a platoon lead, and at that time they created a new brigade. It was like a sorting base, like hundreds of people coming every day. It was chaos, and it was difficult to communicate, to find people. And it turned out that higher rank officers understood that if they would like to find someone, they need to find me, and I will find people. Because I really like to talk to people, to understand where they're from, and I created a lot of communication channels in Signal, etc. And I think this was one of the reasons why higher rank officer approached me and said, he was with a cigarette, and he approached me and said, Dima, you know, we are creating a new company, would you like to be a company lead? And I said, okay, I just became a platoon lead, only 1 week, 30 people trying to understand what to do, and now you ask me to be a company lead of what, 150 people? Yeah, can I think about it? And he was with a cigarette, yes, of course you can think about it until the cigarette is finished. So I had a long time of 30 seconds to think about it, and then I thought, okay, it's like a Agile release train, yes, no difference. So yeah, so I took the opportunity, and yeah, so I operated on a company level. And a bit more of the context, so you understand where I try to apply the skills. So I was new in role and domain, yes, in domain. I'm not a professional military officer. There was no onboarding time. I didn't have anybody like onboarding playbook, etc. No, you have to learn on the fly, and not only me, everyone. I had to 150 armed men. They were divided in units and geographically distributed. Yeah, it's very stupid to have 150 people in one location. So I had to drive 120 km to get to all of my units. Yes, so they were geographically distributed. I didn't hire any man. I didn't have any interview. Yeah, like, oh, okay, what are your values? What do you think we are trying to build in our company? No, I just got what I got, and believe me, I got very different people. From 18 to 60, with different occupation, with different historical records. Yeah. If I don't like someone, I cannot move or fire them. And it turned out that I can move them internally, but I didn't know at that time. And yeah, jobs that you cannot quit. So if you don't like it, yeah, okay, you just stay there. And war is happening. So this was the context, yes. And the first thing that helped me, the knowledge that I had, and many of you have, yes, is the knowledge of Canadian framework. Any heard about Canadian framework? Okay, yeah, like sort of the people. So this is a sense-making framework developed by Dave Snowden, Welsh scientist. And it says that depending in what environment you are, and according to this model, there are 5 environments, you should act and lead differently. And I knew that back in March 2022, I was in chaotic environment. Yes, it was just chaos. So, and it means that from this model, if you're in chaotic environments, there are no best practices, there are no good practices, there are novel practices, practices that constantly emerge. And I also knew that I should not make any long-term planning. And when I say long-term planning, I mean week, yes? So when soldiers or surgeons approached me and said, Dima, okay, what is our plan for, I don't know, in 2 days, what is our training schedule, etc. And said, okay, guys, you should accept that you will hear no plans from me. Maximum what we can do for half a day, because everything is changing. So it saved a lot of time and energy for me, just understanding that it is okay not to try to make long-term plans. It is okay to challenge best and good practices. Whenever someone told me, oh, Dima, this is how you should do, this is the only way, I was very skeptical, because it's chaotic domain. I knew that we need to act, we need to see the results, we need to adjust, we need to act. There is no kind of established ways of working in chaotic domain. So I'm such a person that I really like go outside of the comfort zone because this is how you develop, but back at that time it looked like, yeah, I was too far in comfort zone. Just to give you a few examples why it was chaotic. At 6:30 a.m. I got a message from my commander, in 30 minutes give me 2 people that will go for explosives expert training. And I said, okay, half of my people on duty, half of my people sleeping or preparing for the duty, how you possibly see I can give you 2 people in 30 minutes? Dima, are you stupid? It's super easy. You open the list of your staff, you pick 2 surnames and give it to me. Why we are discussing it? Other company lists already did it. Yeah. So I said, okay, let me think about it. So I spent an entire day. I drove to several units, I talked to people, and I tried to find people that will like it, yeah, because this is a very dangerous job. And yeah, my commander was super mad at me. He wanted to go to my location and punish me or whatever. But I found 3 persons that really wanted to do this, and I had the luxury problem of choosing 2, yes, without having a fight between them. And this is the 2 guys. They are still working as explosives experts. They are super happy. On this picture, they're really smiling. Yes. I just put yeah, smileys, but believe me, they're super smiley. And this is the outcome of their work just in 1 day. They clean up a lot of the little surprises and gifts from our neighbor in Kharkiv and Kherson region. Another example is, give me 1 person from each battery that will be a medical instructor without medical education. Deadline right now. This is what I love about army. Deadline right now. So they think that I'm like a Nostradamus. I know what they will ask, so I prepared everything, and I just sitting and waiting your message. Okay, yeah, here you go. Yes, so again, I spent like half a day talking to people, because medical is also a dangerous job, target number 2 on battlefield after the commander, and at least people should not afraid of blood, yes, to be a medical. So yeah, also found a person who would like to do it. Or we can get a message like, we are moving away in half a day during the night. be ready at 4 a.m. and you don't know where we are moving, for how long, etc. Yes, so it was very chaotic, and it means that I spent a lot of time on being reactive and a little bit of time on being proactive, thinking of how to improve systemic changes, whatever, what we do in business. And I am a very lazy person. I don't want to be reactive. So I wanted to change it. So I started to think, okay, how can I change from being reactive to be more proactive? Yeah. And I started to reread books. And yeah, this is one of my favorite books. And Solda took a picture of me. You see that I read. It's yeah, very deep. And then I found also this quote from Dmytro Yarmak. And he said that my thought of the day that between command and control there is always an option. And if you have a MacBook, actually this is what you see every day. So Steve Jobs made a point to remind you every day there is an option. And yeah, and I think depending on your experience, you will have this option different. So based on my experience, what I decided is to enable leadership on every level. And when I say every level, I mean squad, platoon, and company. We are three things: providing clarity, creating psychological safety environment, and raising competence. And this is what I will tell you how I try to do these three things. So the third thing is providing clarity, because if I would like to enable leadership on every level, I need to make sure that they have right information to take decisions. The first thing, what I did a Kanban board in Trello. You can say, oh, Dima, it's not security. I didn't care at that time about security. We try not to put sensitive information. So I gathered my platoon leads and said, okay, guys, I will show you, because we have a lot of tasks there in Signal somewhere, deadline right now, we are failing, etc. Let's do a Kanban. And this, Kanban what? Okay, this is a board. Yes, let's put all our tasks here, and then you can, and then one guy, oh my God, I can drag and drop. Because it's not IT guys, yeah? Some of them are just sellers, some are teachers, etc. And then, oh, so when I drag and drop, it's also changing on your computer? Oh my God. So they were in love with it. So we started to put our task there. We tried even to collaborate, to put few of the guys together, and we also, it was a really great visualization, and it also boosts the knowledge transfer, because we tried to put also output there, so they could see, okay, this platoon already did it, how they did it. And then my commander noticed that we started to be better in deadline right now tasks, not right now, but at least faster. And he said, Dima, what are you doing? And, we are doing Kanban. Kanban what? Okay, yeah. And he said, you know, we have a big problem with vacation schedules in the battalion. Can you help with it? Yeah, okay, let's look at it. So we created a Kanban board for vacation applications. Every soldier can take 1 or 2 days vacation in 2 months. Yes, otherwise you work 24/7. And of course, everyone would like to go to a special date. This is my daughter's birthday. My wife is coming from Czech or from Poland, and I need to see you exactly on this day. Yeah, and sometimes it clashes, etc. And applications were written by hand. They were in Signal Messenger, so it was chaos. Quite often, they were approved when vacation date already passed. Yeah, and there is also a chain of approval that you need to go through in order to get them, in order you are allowed to go. So yeah, we created a Kanban board, and it started to work really well. It was transparent who is going where, when, and that there are no clashes. And then on brigade level, contacted my battalion lead and said, oh, it looks like you have less problems with vacation applications. What are you doing? I don't know if he said Kanban or not. But I was asked to help on brigade level. So on more than 3,000 people level, we did it. It has a bit more of approvals, yeah, and we did the same on brigade level. Yeah. Another thing on clarity is I try to share information. I call this information radiators. It's when they radiate the information. And I tried to print defense maps, guardian schedules, some important information, and put it into the units. The problem is that older generation officers in Ukraine army, they think that more information I have, more power I have. So they're really reluctant on sharing because, oh, they ask me, probably I'm very important, they don't know, and I know, yes. But I wanted to go to proactive mode, so I didn't want it. So yeah, I shared information that soldiers know anyway or should know, yeah, so they have it and ask less of the questions. Also in the army you need to do a lot of reports every day. This is the most hated thing that I had in the army. And quite often it's the same report but just in different format. Yeah, like how many vehicles you have, how many armor you have, how many night visions, etc., who has medical education, blah, blah, blah. So we started to create a information refrigerator, just an Excel file where me and platoon leads had an access, and we put a lot of information, and over time we can create these reports just like in 10 minutes, creating a pivot table, and that's it. And also I worked on short feedback loop. So we had a daily checkups twice a day, so daily stand-up. We had one at 6:30 a.m. and one at 9 p.m. Why two? Because it was a lot of changes. You cannot really have only once in a day. So if your team's saying, oh, it's too much to meet every day, okay, yeah, sometimes we meet even twice. When there are tough periods, we had a demo retro and planning every day. It was only 15 minutes in the evening, total 15 minutes, demo retro and planning, me and platoon leads. Every week I try to visit each platoon physically. Yeah, so I drove 120 km and talked to people and see what is happening. And I gave my phone numbers to all soldiers, and I said you can call me whenever you have some question that you cannot get answers from. And I did it on purpose, so then I could understand what platoon leads failed to communicate or where I failed to communicate to platoon leads and sergeants. Yeah? And over time, I had less and less calls. And the last thing on clarity. We have a big problem with communication in the army. Quite often it's what to do without explaining why. Yeah. I put some examples like that I can share, like take a picture of all soldiers. Okay, why? Dima, are you stupid? Just I need pictures, that is why. Okay, can you explain what background, what uniform, is it for ID, is it if something bad happened to soldier, then we need this type of photo. Yeah, so I asked this a lot of why questions. Yeah, my commander was mad, but I understood what he wants. And we did it in the right way from the first time. Yeah, other company leads, they had to do it 3 or 4 times because they didn't ask these questions. So yeah, I drove nuts for my commander, especially in the beginning, but over the time they actually understood if they provide the context, like a mission, not just command and control, then yeah, then we will make a better result and faster. So it was the first thing, what we did on clarity, because again, if you would like to enable leadership on every level, you need to make sure that the people that will take decisions, they have enough right information, yes, to take these decisions. Another thing that I worked on is on psychological safety, at least tried to work. In army it's not easy. So, by the way, who have heard about psychological safety? Yeah, okay, more than half. Yes, so this is, if you haven't heard, I really recommend to read about Project Aristotle, the studies that Google did, and this is #1 factor in making a high-performing team. And in short, psychological safety is when you are not afraid to make mistake, when you are not afraid to take reasonable risk, because you know your team members will not blame you, they will not laugh at you. So I wanted to go from focus on control on focus on learning. And it was not easy in the army to have a psychological safe environment because of the environment itself and what is happening. But I think for me it was a bit easier because first I was not biased on how to do in the army knowledge. Yeah, I just knew how to do it in the companies and business. And second, I didn't want to be a general. I didn't care about my career in the army. So whenever my commander was mad at me, I could just say, okay, just fire me. Yeah. And said, okay, yeah. So, and it's impossible to fire in the army, even to change from position, just impossible. Unless you do very stupid thing, very, very, very stupid thing, then they can do it. And it's like caring but not caring. Yes, caring about your stuff, but not caring but not caring about consequences to yourself. So, but to the soldiers and sergeants, it was not easy to explain what is psychological safety, Project Aristotle, etc., high-performing team, Stockman model, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, guys, whenever something happened, we need to focus on this. What are the learnings we can take from the station? And I worked a lot with sergeants and platoon leads on this. Okay, yeah, because we would like to change it. So if it happened in this unit, most likely it might happen in another unit. We don't want it. Okay, so what are the learnings? Good. And then I came to one unit after accident, and a sergeant gathered all the guys and said, okay, guys, what are the learnings we can take from the situation? And he looked at me like proud that he asked the right question. And then people started to say something, and yeah, very good input, and said, okay, guys, no. The learning, the sergeant says, the learning that we should take, that these guys screw up. And I was, okay, probably I need to explain more, not only this question, yes? So I explained the atmosphere, that you shouldn't blame people. It's not a people problem, usually, yes. Quite often it's not on purpose was made. And we actually changed a lot of procedures unofficially. You cannot change officially. So we changed a lot of procedures unofficially, which which reduced the number of accidents. And because some of the procedures in Ukrainian army are still from Soviet Union time that you need to follow, which is insane. But it was not easy for me, because I was not sure that I'm doing the right thing. Some of the commanders said, Dima, you're a very soft guy. You should not just have these fluff, butterfly talks. Just punish them. Yeah? I will teach you how to punish them. So I was really like, but learnings, but we will improve. Over time, we could see the results, but when I started, and even criminal code of Ukraine is not helping you here, because, for example, if you lose one bullet, not in the combat, but in rest location, just lose it somehow, it might be criminal prosecution for you. So it's not really helping with learning. So I was really like, should I be mad or should I be calm? Am I doing the right thing? And then a friend of mine, she has shared it to me, after action review. Anyone have heard about after action review? Yeah, some of you. So this is what in the army they call retrospectives. Yeah, and actually they started it in 1971 in US Army. Before Scrum, Agile, whatever. Yeah, more than 50 years ago. And this is a guide from 1991, not the first one. So she shared it to me, and I started to read this guide online, and I was, oh my God, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. This is exactly what we do as retrospectives. For example, they are saying, leave your stripes at the door. So everybody is equal in after action review. Yeah, so a lot of they think. And I started to, wrong coda. I started to read more about after action review, and then I found this quote from General Gordon Sullivan, who is the chief of US Army staff in 90s, and he said that I believe that one of the single most important innovations of the past 20 years, not our technology, not the comprehensive physical trainings US Army has, yes, is the after action review. So, and I was, okay, probably I am doing the right thing. And then I found a Harvard Business Review article about OP4, opposite forces. This is elite forces in US Army. And they are training other forces that are blue 4 opponent. And in these trainings, game scenarios, they are always smaller. This OP4 unit is always smaller. They have older equipment, they have less armor, and they win competition after competition after competition. And they claim that the reason for their success is the way we use the after-action review. And it's actually a very good article. For the sake of time, I will not go into details the way they use, because everybody in NATO armies, not only US now, it's a standard. You need to have after-action review. You cannot skip retro, no. In the army, there is no question, can we skip retro today? No, you cannot. Yes. So everybody is using, but they use it different, and they say this is the reason for our consistent success. Yeah, the way we learn. And yeah, and then at this point I was, okay, yeah, I am doing the right thing, so I actually need to educate my other officers of doing this and not just be worried if I'm doing the right thing. So, yeah, psychological safety hopefully at some extent was created, I hope. And then motivation to take the responsibility if I would like to enable leadership on every level. Yeah, and some of my commanders, they said, okay, Dima, this is how you need to motivate. You need to punish if something bad happens and reward if something good happens. And I say, okay, carrot and stick approach. And what? So, never mind, I don't think it's working. Yes, instead I like this Daniel Pink's model about intrinsic motivation inside us, yeah, from book Drive. And it says that we are motivated by 3 things. Autonomy, so we decide how to do things, yeah, we have a freedom of deciding. Mastery, we can grow and develop our competences. And purpose, we understand why we are doing it. So purpose was very clear for everybody, and is still clear for everybody in Ukrainian army, yes, to defend our country. Autonomy, we had some problems with autonomy, because again, you cannot easily change people, and some of my surgeons, they were surgeons because they served in Soviet Union time some time ago, and they were lazy, up to 60, doing nothing, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I did unofficially change, and I took soldiers to surgeon position, surgeons made as soldiers, unofficially. I could not make it officially. But I decided to work on mastery, on competence, because you should understand that when full-scale invasion started, and I do not say war started. War in Ukraine started in 2014. A lot of us forget about it, but war is happening for 10 years already. Every day there were casualties. But on February 24th, 2022, a full-scale invasion war started. And yeah, at this time, 600,000 of people were drafted or volunteered to the army during the first months. And they were not professionals, yeah? It's like there is a saying that war is started by professionals but finished by teachers, doctors, etc. So they lack skills. They didn't know how to clean the weapon. I also didn't know. Yes, they didn't know how to work in the group when you attack, when you clear the building, etc. So I decided to work on the competence, and it also will help them with contribution, which is the second part of the purpose. Because one thing is understanding the meaning, another thing is, are you able to contribute to this meaning? And there was a lot of demotivation because they couldn't contribute, they lacked skills. And I didn't have any illusion that country will provide training. Again, 600,000, war is coming. At that time, we didn't know if Kyiv will be captured, whatever, yes? So I started to find veterans, because we have a lot of veterans from 2014, and I asked them if they can provide some trainings. I contacted municipality, can you give us some space? They gave us abandoned hospitals. And every weekend we started to have trainings. So I asked veterans to come, and then we have this training base. First we started in my company. Again, rumors spread, good news spreading, not so fast as the bad news, but still spreading. my battalion lead said, can we send from other companies? Yeah, of course he doesn't ask. He said, Dima, next weekend these guys from other companies will go to the training base. Yeah. Then rumors spread, and from brigade, yeah, we got from another battalions. And over months, we trained hundreds of people on different topics, and then we started to focus on train the trainer, because it was super difficult to get guys into the one location. So we trained surgeons. This was our focus, so they can then train at their location. And there was a lot of skepticism in the beginning. Kind of, Dima, what are you doing? Because the first training that I did, I watched YouTube video, 20 minutes, on how to act as a group in the field, blah, 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 and then I started to train. It was a lot of skepticism. Dima, it's just a drop, yeah. But over time, we actually built this core curriculum. So, and it's in Ukrainian, but every statement can be like a few hours or half a day. Yeah. So we actually started to have a really good curriculum for what we can train. Then I knew that soldiers are very tired. They don't want to train. Yes, they would like to have a rest, etc. But this is a life-changing event. You need to be ready. This can save your life in some situations. So I insisted on Cadence for training. So for the soldiers that are available at that time and that are in condition to do the training, we had like a Cadence every week we planned. And I knew that I can go to any unit at this time, and at least few soldiers will have this training. We also focused on physical condition of our soldiers. Again, many of them is like, yeah, older people, farmers, etc. They never trained, yeah. But then armor is very heavy. You need to run. You need to, yeah, to be in difficult conditions. And yeah, so we rent or took barns in the villages and created a fitness network. Yeah, and then we bought with platoon leads different equipment, yeah, and we also encourage them for different physical activities. So, enable leadership on every level. We are providing clarity, creating psychological safety, competence, raising competence, and then I started to delegate. And then there is a management 3.0. There are 7 levels on how you can delegate. Yeah. And we have listed, I just listed a few of the different tasks that I had to do. And then you decide on what level the platoon leads, sergeants, are they, on what level they are capable to take the delegation level, yes. And for example, decision on sanctions, platoon leads didn't want really to do any sanctions for their staff, and I could understand them, yes. So sometimes even psychological safety, sometimes you need to do sanctions, because if it was on purpose done, not the first time, some bad thing. So it was me. If it's guard schedule, yeah, then I delegated it to platoon leads completely. Evening check up of the staff. Create vacation schedule, we delegated to soldiers. First I delegated to platoon leads, but they were really unhappy because soldiers were mad at them. You cannot please everyone. Unfortunately, some of them had birthdays of their kids at the same day, and they would like to go at the same day on vacation, and platoon lead had to choose someone. So we delegated to soldiers, and it created a really nice dynamic. They started to communicate and talk to each other more because they wanted to swap and agree, okay, I will go this way, and next time I will not go, you will take 2 days, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, so this helped me to delegate, and I started to have more time, proactive time. I love to run, so I actually started to have time even for running. The only difference, I had to do it in bulletproof waist. And also one of my dreams came true. I always wanted to have a motorbike. But my wife said, Dima, forget about it, never. We have kids, it's too dangerous, forget. But then there was a crappy day, and I called my wife and said, Kate, it's yeah, super mad here, I don't know, can I buy a motorbike? And she said, okay, go on. What worse can happen? So yeah, one of my dreams came true. I bought a motorbike that's just in the village, one guy. And a funny story, I loved to do training drills, unexpected surprise training drills for my units, yeah, or just inspection. And when I come during the night or during the day and see what they're doing, yeah, are they on positions? Not anyone is not in the phone, etc. And I started to do it on my motorbike, yeah. And I noticed that they became better. There is nothing to say. And I was like, okay, what is happening? And I talked to one soldier and said, can you explain me what is happening? He said, you know, when you go by motorbike, we can hear you 5 minutes before you come. Yeah, it was very loud motorbike. Yeah. So in November 2022, I quit from the army. My father is a military man and has special health condition, and there is a statement in law that actually all of this match, and I could quit from the army. This is me going home, November 2022. And I went to our apartment in Kiev, from what we evacuated to our house near the Kiev. And it was just like as we left it in February 23. You can see it was a calendar, February 23. This is our New Year resolution. We always did it with our family, with kids. And be careful with your wishes. Because my kids wanted to learn new language. My wife wanted to live for a while in new country. And I wanted to make a sabbatical from my job. So we got what we wanted. So be careful with your wishes. Universe will give it to you, but be precise, okay? What is the environment also would like you to have, etc. And in December 2022, I joined my family. So it was actually a birthday day for my daughter. Yeah, so we are very happy. And I opened the company in Denmark. Back at the time it was Agile Drive, now we call it Execute On. Yeah, and what I do now, I help my soldiers. I buy different high-tech equipment like sniper, optics, drones, tablets, night visions, because, yeah, government cannot provide. It's impossible. Not to blame government, it's impossible. We don't have such money to spend. So, and also what we did, we translated and adopted with my friend of mine that shared it after action review to Ukrainian language. We made one just about after action review and another for surgeons. So how they should facilitate, etc., to have a discussion. We collect money, we print it, we distribute it among different military units. And I would like to say a big thank you to Czech people. I know it's not only Czech here from all countries, but we are in Prague. So I would like to say a big thank you to Czech people. You supported us a lot. There was a very hard period. It's every day very hard period, but at that time we really lacked of artillery shells. And your president, and I think with support of the community, you actually found the way, yeah, how to buy artillery shells somewhere, we don't know where, and provide it to Ukraine. So, yeah, thank you very much for this. And, yeah, I would be super happy to be connected with you on LinkedIn, so you can follow me, I can follow you. You can take this QR code. And, yeah, just we'll wait a bit. Yeah, no, okay. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to share this picture. This is the picture my soldier took, yeah, on a military place, just to show you that despite all of it, Ukrainians are trying to see beauty in life, and you can see it everywhere. And yeah, I would love to have your feedback. So this is another QR code. If some of you would like to give me feedback, would be great. Also, as Fred said, there are some cards. So thank you very much.